To cut a long backstory short, my wife 30 and I 31 have been living separated for about 1.5 years, married for 7 years. 1 year of the separation was in the same house because of our 3 children currently living with me. But the new agreement will be 3 and 4 days in alternation with each of us parents. Before the separation, there was a marriage crisis, also some bad bedroom problems which we tried to solve with professional help. But at that time, she probably already did not want any more. Before the new arrangement, we saw each other regularly and also talked. Now she has recently remembered that as a child, she had a very traumatic experience which was probably triggered during the marriage crisis. There are also parallels to what happened. She will discuss this and other unprocessed with a psychologist and has already made an appointment since she moved out. She has already had several affairs because for her, the marriage only exists on paper. Now she is also more or less looking for something new but is also still unclear about what she wants at all. Before the childhood trauma came out, I was actually ready to inform myself about divorce law steps because I realized there was no hope. But since I know about that trauma, I am not really sure anymore. Somehow I have the hope that through the psychological talks that are pending, she can process all the problems and pain from the time before me. And also what happened in the crisis and then possibly imagine coming back. I know the chance of this is extremely small and it would probably be healthier for me to just make the cut. But somehow I can no longer let her go so easily because of the new knowledge. Her understandable reason why she doesn't want to try it again is the lack of trust and the fear that it will fall back into the old pattern after a certain time. I'm pretty messed up emotionally and also scared of the decisions I'll probably have to make and accept. I think I need someone with a neutral point of view. If anyone has any tips on how I can change my mindset to stop seeing hope, I would also appreciate it. Update. Some time has passed since my last post. Small recap. My wife moved out a while ago and in the meanwhile, met and had sexual contact with other men due to new findings, childhood trauma for which she now wants to go to therapy. Not sure if she is actually doing it. I was not sure whether I should have hope or not. I have since tried to keep the contact to a minimum and only discuss things that concern the children. This has worked more or less well, although we still had a lot of contact, especially because of the upcoming birthday of one of our children. I felt better, but of course, still had many bad thoughts about what she does or doesn't do in regard to men during the last conversation. She assured me that she would not meet any other men anymore because she didn't want to and she had to find out what she really wanted first. I was sure that she did it anyway, but had no proof. Then was the birthday of my child. We were together with the family. She was of course, also present for me. It was super weird. I felt really uncomfortable as she puts on happy life and spoke like a friend to me while everything was broken. I also felt that something was weird. The kid's birthday party was planned for the day after I called her in the morning and told her I thought it would be better if she didn't come. The kids were with me that day anyway. I explained why, but she insisted on coming. The party was going well, the kids had fun and all, but I couldn't resist. And then it happened. I couldn't stand it. I checked her cell phone and read the messages that she was of course seeing 1 or 2 men and that they were also coming to her house and spending the night. I must say that I mentioned several times that I didn't want my children to sleep in the same bed where she was doing things with men. She agreed with me and said she didn't want that either. In an angry reaction, I told her to leave the party when she asked why I told her that I had read her messages. After that, it escalated a bit. She was angry because I had disregarded her privacy. I did not care. I told her how could she be so dishonest and that she should leave. I told her that I never wanted to see her again. She tried to justify herself with sentences like I tried not to see him again, but I'm only human and weak. It got a bit ugly in the conversation. But then she left later. I got a message where she admitted to sleeping with men and that she would continue to meet with the one. She said she didn't give a crap about me now and she didn't care about my feelings anymore. She talked about how great the sex was and that she has orgasms. She literally wrote that she also wanted to report me for violating her privacy. She thinks I hacked her phone or installed some software, but I still had a fingerprint registered and said I provoked her. For me, this was the final straw. I now have an appointment with the lawyer and will file for divorce. But what hurts me so much is the sentence about sex. I realized that she wrote that out of anger to hurt me. But it still mocked my confidence. Our sex life was always okay, but nothing special. I was her first and she was always rather reserved to discover her own sexual passion. And had also mentioned earlier that she liked her experience. I am also afraid that now it will come to an ugly divorce and it will be more of a rose war also regarding the children and the fact that they will eventually see their mother with another man. I had a conversation yesterday with my daughter, close to 10 years old, who doesn't want to be with her mother because she feels uncomfortable there. She was sad because she wants her mother to move back in. I tried to explain to her why that was not going to happen. I told her that it had nothing to do with the children, that Mom still loved her and that I loved her more than anything and would always be there for her. I am not sure how much I can tell my daughter something like she is dating other men. I think is rather wrong to say. I'm also really scared about the future and how I will feel. Update: I wanted to limit personal contact to an absolute minimum and only was necessary because of the children and started to follow through. A couple of weeks ago, I had planned a ski weekend with my kids just before we left. One of my kids started making a scene because they didn't want to clean up the room. This led to discussions and to the point that the child said they didn't want to go with me and wanted to stay with their mother. So I told the child to call the mother and clarify that. Of course, it wasn't an option because of work and who knows what else. I was very emotionally charged at this time because I was really looking forward to the weekend. And so were the kids, and because I still blame my STBX for the shattered situation and how my kids feel. I had talked several times with said child about how it felt, and of course, they're doing really bad with it, quite the opposite of what the mother thinks. That must have no effect on the children. Anyway, I then took the phone because I wanted a confirmation of what is now the matter. It got a little out of hand again because I expressed to my SDBX what I thought about it and why it happened. She hung up on me and I sent her a one-line email with the words, "You can hang up. But that doesn't change the truth. The whole thing was like before, an emotional act on my side." Meanwhile, I managed better when I let the situation cool down first and then react. "See you later." This in turn triggered a very long answer from her. Also definitely emotionally written, in which she described her truths. I will not elaborate here, but it was about what I did wrong and how I treated her wrong. Also, she said that she didn't regret the affairs. One of them led to an abortion. How can you not regret that? So again, completely trying to shift the blame and responsibility onto me also. And this is the critical point. She wrote, "The truth is that I don't want you in my life anymore and I am ready to divorce you." I took the opportunity to respond to her bullshit and present things objectively to show her what kind of bubble she's living in. And I took the opportunity to point out to her that she was going to get a letter from my lawyer soon anyway about the divorce. I explained to her in detail and objectively why I have no more hope for us. And then came the answer. "I did not intend to divorce, but apparently you have planned and organized everything." I did not care and I did not go further into it by replying. The fact is that she is screaming for a divorce with all her behavior and the things she has said, maybe not in the illusory world that she has built up, because according to her ideas, we would probably stay married and be a family with everything that belongs to it. But she may continue to see other men. This has shown me that she is absolutely not aware of what she has done and has not reckoned with the consequences. Presumably, she must have been shocked by my information. Since then, our contact has been almost exclusively related to the children. I have set up an app with a shared calendar through which we can communicate about child-related things. On Friday 2 weeks ago came the expected reaction. She wrote a text message that she had received the letter and would read everything very carefully. I could literally feel her anger. She then made a few comments about the content which showed me that she was very emotionally charged. She probably thought at the beginning that I was just making an empty threat. And now she has seen that this is not the case as mentioned before. I also think that she is slowly realizing that her house of cards and wishful thinking is collapsing and she has to bear the consequences herself. 3 days after she received the letter, she wrote me the following message. I will translate it roughly. Dear. I have been longing to apologize to you for everything that happened, that you had to suffer because of me and that I hurt you and that everything is destroyed. But I also want to thank you for the fact that I was able to grow up with you. I hope you know that I will always be there for you when you need me. And I mean it, since we didn't make it as a couple, I would be very happy if we could be good parents for the children, function harmoniously and give them security. I hope I have expressed myself clearly. Thank you. What should I even think about this? What is she apologizing for everything? Of course, that makes it easy to not have to reflect properly. So she doesn't have to deal with what she did and still hopes for forgiveness for me. She is always there for me. That was part of our vows and obviously she didn't stick to it. Thanking you for growing up again. Obviously, she hasn't learned the most important lesson: how to handle crisis. And by that, I mean, the initial marriage crisis that probably triggered this and after which she ended up in a continuous downward spiral. She clearly wants absolution from me. I don't think she is waiting for an answer from me. I think it's more that she has now said the things she wanted to say and thinks she can now feel better about it. She also said at one point that she would now start to try to see things more positively. Basically what I had said to her for years, and now she's doing it after she already destroyed her family. I now have 1 week to decide. So there's no emotional reaction, whether I should give her the satisfaction or take it away from her with an answer, namely to hold the truth before her eyes and the things I mentioned above, I know NC and all. But in this case, I don't think she is looking for contact but rather absolution. And my answer would be then only to smash her desire and possibly now inner peace, which I assume by the vague wording of this SMS and action itself. And the report of the abuse of privacy, she has at some point claimed that she was at the police but she would not report me. Of course not. Probably she was told that she has nothing in hand and would only make a fool of herself. The divorce itself is initiated but it takes between 6 to 12 months until the whole thing is through. What do you think? Should I answer or rather not? It's not about wanting to save the marriage somehow. I don't see any hope for it also. I would not want it at all with my wife as she was before maybe. But she has changed so much for the worse and is now no longer the same. Update: a week ago I had written and now I need advice again. I am struggling hard and I am just hurt and angry against my deepest desire for revenge. I have not responded to the message of my DBX last week because of the advice here. But the whole thing just won't let me go. I'm sure she is living her life right now and is happy. Finally, out of the marriage, I filed for divorce, which she probably wanted for a long time. She probably even has a new relationship already. I think that because of the following: I got my oldest child a cell phone with which the kids can call me when I'm out of the house and whatnot. It is also the number of the mother because otherwise the kids use the home phone, which is much too expensive. Now, it happened that my eldest has tried to call the mother who has not picked up TBX. Then later sent a text message to the kid's phone asking who the number belongs to at 10 p.m. The cell phone was called with a suppressed number 3 minutes later from the mother. So since I don't think my ex knows how to suppress the number, she was not alone. In addition, I contacted her Saturday through the co-parenting app because she had forgotten to do something kids-related. The answer was that she could only do it on Sunday. So she was definitely away for the weekend, probably with her new guy. What I want to get at. I really want NC, but it seems that there is always some information coming to me that gives reason for speculation, and I absolutely cannot handle the fact that my ex is already happily in a relationship. She has no right to it in my opinion, while the kids and I suffer just simply because she apologized, which probably wasn't even meant seriously, and then just started building a new life in her way. This is killing me and I don't know how to deal with it. I don't want this to constantly haunt me and make me feel bad because I'm triggered everywhere. I'm probably additionally so angry because I know that as a divorced male with 3 kids, it's virtually impossible to meet a woman. I know because I tried, even though I don't think I'm ready. I also tried without stating that I have kids, which worked better, but sure, that won't lead to a real relationship. Of course, she has no problem finding someone as a good-looking and naive young mother. You are certainly an easy target or fetish of some. I doubt that most of them want something serious but just take advantage of it. But if you are so ignorant and naive, not to see that you are happy in the moment, right? And I do not wish that for her, even though I know that this definitely suggests a bad character trait of mine. How do you deal with it? How do I change my mindset? And stop caring about her? Why do I love and hate her at the same time? Sorry to be blunt, but your wife is a cake eater. She wants the stability from you with the children to support her lifestyle. She is the same person who said sex was better to belittle you. This is her way of justifying to herself that she is a better person. So don't respond, and you show her you are a man of your word and go ahead with the divorce. Don't communicate with her anymore. Only through your lawyer or a court-approved co-parenting. The truth has already been stated. She told you she didn't regret her affairs. It seems your children need some therapy, as the reaction of your child suggests he is still struggling to come to terms. So focus all your energy on yourself and the child. They have seen their parents argue and heard things that children their age probably don't need to hear. So there may be some trauma that needs to be addressed. So reassure them through therapy. Good luck, as it's a long, hard road when children are involved. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe.